Okay, friends, are you ready? Because we are coming in for a landing with this book. Louise Bourget, she's been dead about an hour. She was stabbed through the heart. She has part of a 1,000-franc note clutched in her hand and a surprised, angry look on her face. Poirot supposes from something she said earlier when he was asking, did you see anything the night before? And she said, no, because I was in my room, but if I had been going up the stairs and I had happened to be there and see something. And so like now he's going like, okay, so maybe she did see something and then she blackmailed the killer and then they like handed her the money and she started to count it and then they killed her. So Poirot believes that Rosalie Otterborn, when she was out throwing the alcohol down, that she saw something. He suggests to her that she saw someone come out of Lynette's room that night, saw him walk away, specifically he says him, walk away down the deck and enter one of the two end cabins. She says she didn't see anybody. She's very adamant. I did not see anybody. I kind of had thought maybe it wasn't Tim, but now I'm thinking maybe he killed her. He tells Colonel Race that he solved it. And Colonel Race is like, I'm completely left in the dark. And so he says, well, if you just look at these 6 clues, then it all come together. So I think we need to stop and look at these 6 clues. So he said, Jackie thought someone overheard her threaten Lynette back at the hotel in Aswan when she was talking to Poirot. She said, like, here's this little gun that I would shoot her with. So it needs to be someone that was at that hotel. Then he said what Tim says he heard and did on the night of the crime. Tim said that he was in bed by 10:30. He read a little bit. At 11, he turned out the lights. He heard Colonel Race say goodnight to Lynette at 11:20. Heard Cornelia calling Jack back. There were a lot of different voices. Someone running along the deck and a splash. And then Dr. Besner saying, careful, not too quick. Louise's answers to their questions that morning. When did you last see Madame Doyle alive? Last night. I was in her cabin to undress her. What time was that? It was sometime after 11. I can't say exactly when. I undress her and put her to bed and then I leave. Took 10 minutes. She was tired. She told me to put the lights out when I went. And when you left her, what did you do? I went to my own cabin on the deck below. And you heard or saw nothing? But, monsieur, I was nowhere near. What could I have seen or heard? I was on the deck below. My cabin, it was on the other side of the boat even. It's impossible that I should have heard anything. Naturally, if I had been unable to sleep, if I'd mounted the stairs, then perhaps I might have seen the assassin, this monster, enter or leave Madame's cabin. But as it is, Miss Otterton drinks water, Tim whiskey and soda, and Poirot wine. 2 bottles of nail polish. Okay, one of them only had a few drops of red liquid. The other one was full, and between them they smelled like vinegar. And then the proverb that he quoted, life is vain, a little love, a little hate, and then hello, life is short, a little hope, a bit of a dream, and then good night. And finally, we come to the crux of the whole business. The fact that the pistol was wrapped in a cheap handkerchief and a velvet stole and thrown overboard. And remember this, we must start from the beginning since our first conception was entirely wrong. Which makes me then go like, okay, maybe Tim didn't do it, but Jackie and Simon did? Because their first conception was that those 2 people could not have done it. But there's no way they could have done it unless Ms. Bowers was in on it, because Ms. Bowers could have let Jackie go and then given her the morphine. But like the broken leg is pretty much, Simon wasn't going anywhere. Could Ms. Bowers have given Jackie the stole? And then where'd the cheap handkerchief come from? Man, I felt like it was saying, like, it's Tim, it's Tim, it's Tim. And then, like, maybe it's not. So Mrs. Otterton then comes bursting in and tells Poirot that she saw Louise Bourget's killer. And just as she's about to say, the murderer is, she gets shot. Like, right there in the room. Like, they're in, like, one of the cabins. I think they're in Dr. Besner's cabin. There's, like, a kerfuffle because her body's kind of in the way of them trying to get out of the door. Poirot sees a big Colt revolver on the ground, but he doesn't see anybody, looks both ways and doesn't see anybody. So he just has to pick a direction. And he runs off, and as he's running, he doesn't see anybody, but then Tim Allerton comes running towards him. So, right, he could have shot somebody, ran off, and then run around, turn and run back like, oh, what was that shot? Let's go the other way. So they run off the other way. When they get back to Dr. Besner's cabin. Jim Fanthorpe and Mr. Ferguson were on the deck, like lounging out on the deck over here, so nobody could have gone that way. Rosalie, Otterborn, Jackie, and Cornelia all pop out of their cabins. Poirot realizes that it's Pennington's revolver, so they just go into his cabin, is right next door. They go in there, he's not there, and his revolver's gone. It's not looking too good for Andrew Pennington right now. He's one deck below in the drawing room area. He says he's been reading and writing for 20 minutes, but of course he has no witnesses. I'm sorry, I keep calling him Poirot. Poirot is just... my Texan mouth has a hard time saying that. Poirot. At some point, Mr. Ferguson, right, who we know has a signet ring and nice undies, he outs Cornelia as the one whose father was ruined by Lynette's father. So then he talks to Pennington and he says he suspects that Pennington has lost a lot of the money on Wall Street. When Pennington realizes the situation, he admits to the boulder incident, but he says it was completely an accident. So then Poirot brings up the same clues that he did a minute ago. I do feel like everything's pointing at Tim, but did he kill her? What is up with the nail polish? I thought maybe she was using it to prove that her pearls weren't real. The stained handkerchief. What if the handkerchief is stained? What if the handkerchief was stained with nail polish? I don't know. I feel like whenever he gives these lists of clues, they never help me. It asks more questions than it answers. He said we had to start over and rethink from the very beginning, so maybe I need to rethink who I had even considered could be suspects. Then Poirot goes on to talk to Tim, and he confronts him and says he remembers the name Joanna Southwood because his cop friends have actually suspected her of being part of a jewelry thief ring for a long time now. He tells Tim exactly how Tim went in and took her pearls, switched them out. He says how the pearls got to him are in books that Joanna sends him that don't get, they get through customs, like I kind of said before. And Tim says, yes, that did happen. He says, I did not kill Lynette, but everything else you've said is exactly right. Okay, so Tim's definitely the thief. At least I can feel good about that conspiracy theory working out. It sort of alludes to the idea that if those pearls that are there that we, confiscated earlier, if those pearls are actually the correct real pearls, then there was never an imitation set at all. And Rosalie says that she never saw anyone there that night. So if she continues to say that, then there it seems like maybe you didn't commit a crime at all. And then you can be in love. Okay, so I had 9 suspects, right? Obviously, our mystery woman, Louise, and Mrs. Otterborn are both dead now. So they're not going to be it. And then Andrew Pennington and Tim and Rosalie and Mr. Ferguson have all sort of had their moment where Poirot exposes them or like where they admit to what they have done. And so it seems like, well, okay, it's probably not them. That leaves us with, if we're only considering the original 9 suspects that I had, it leaves us with Van Schuyler, Mrs. Allerton, and Rachetti. I'm sure Rachetti is Colonel Race's guy, but did he also kill Lynette because she read that telegram of his? Van Schuyler could have killed Louise with knitting needles. Maybe she had a problem with Lynette because Cornelia's dad, that situation. Miss Allerton could have thought that Tim did it. So Rachetti could have killed Lynette, but Miss Allerton, maybe even Rosalie said something to Miss Allerton, or Miss Allerton also saw something and or heard like Tim, and so she thinks Tim did it, so then she kills the other 2 people thinking that she's saving him, or even just kills Mrs. Otterton. But that would be so horrible if Tim and Rosalie are gonna get together and Mrs. Allerton is like taking care of Rosalie, and then it turns out that she killed her mom. That's not a very good start for their romance, and I just don't think that's gonna be the way it goes. I could see it being Miss Van Skyler, but it almost seems like, couldn't it just be Rashedi and then like everything gets tied up in a neat bow? That's as far as I read, because he never said like, now everybody gather together so that I can tell you who did it. But I just kept feeling like, okay, well, we've cleared everybody. We only have 3 people left of the people that I was thinking. So like, if he talks to one more person and then one more person, then like, I'll know who it is. So I didn't want to do that before I guessed. Let me give my guess now, and then I'll read it, and we'll see how it goes. There may be more information that I could have had before I make a guess, but I just didn't want to spoil it. So seriously, yesterday I really thought I had it when I gave that like last little, here's what I think happened. And today I am I'm floored. I don't know. I want to say it's Tim, because so many of those things he could have heard at the garden. Van Skyler and Rashedi weren't at the garden as one, which kind of makes it, of the 3 people that I haven't been able to clear, kind of it seems like are cleared, that leaves Miss Allerton left. She would have heard that. Maybe she thought she was protecting him. Maybe Lynette said something to Miss Allerton. She ended up killing her to try to keep her from, and then everybody else just saw her and had to die. But that's my guess. Okay, Miss Allerton did it, all 3 of the murders, thinking she was protecting her son, and then it turns out he didn't really need it, I guess. And then the nail polish. Why would she put nail polish on a thing and wrapped it up with the stole and thrown it out? Maybe nail polish is what was on the J was written with? As much as I hate to do it, my final answer is going to be that Mrs. Allerton did it, trying to protect her son. Now I'm going to read. Colonel Ray says, "It's all right. This is hush hush house. Anything short of murder is being hushed up." Oh my goodness. And Poirot says, "He's your man. I always thought there was something wrong about him, but it was not Rashedi who killed Lynette Doyle." Boom. For some time now, I've known what I may express as the first half of the murder. Now I know the second half also. So then he says, "To begin with, I was stupid, incredibly stupid. To me, the stumbling block was the pistol, Jacqueline de Belfort's pistol. Why had that pistol not been left on the scene of the crime? The idea of the murder was quite plainly to incriminate her. Why then did the murderer take it away? I was so stupid that I thought of all sorts of fantastic reasons. The real one's very simple. The murderer took it away because he had to take it away, because he had no choice in the matter." Okay, so it's a he. But he says it's not Rashedi. We know it's not Andrew. I don't think it's going to be Mr. Ferguson, which only leaves Tim. Really seems like Tim would be the only one, but why would he have to take the gun with him? Why did he have to take the gun with him? Unless Simon did it. Right? Because he said, we have to go back to the beginning and take away what we thought we knew. If Simon killed her before he met up with Jackie, and then Jackie shot him, and then they played out this whole thing so that they seem to have an alibi, but how would the doctor not know that the body, because the body had to be killed between 12 and 2, and their little charade. In fact, Simon didn't leave the room until he never left the room. So he couldn't have killed her. Because Colonel Race said goodnight to her. But then supposedly Louise saw her after that when she tucked her into bed. But Simon couldn't have gone during that time. Okay, it wasn't a spontaneous crime committed on the spur of the moment. It was, on the contrary, very carefully planned and accurately timed, with all the details meticulously worked out beforehand, even to the drugging of Poirot's bottle of wine on the night in question. If he was drugged, oh my gosh, is this going to be like everybody did it? Did everybody do it? Did everybody do it? So he says the first interesting point that's made him think that this could be what happened is that when the pistol was recovered from the Nile and the stole had clearly been shot, to deaden the sound, presumably. But the Lynette's wound had burning on the skin, so there couldn't have been a stole in between. And then the witnesses saw Jackie, and she didn't shoot through a stole. So there had to have been a third shooting to shoot the stole. The next interesting point was the fact that in Lynette's cabin, I found 2 bottles of colored nail polish. He realized that drop or 2 of fluid was red ink. There wasn't any reason that Lynette would have red ink in a nail polish bottle, so he thinks that it's a link with the faintly stained handkerchief because red ink washes out quickly but always leaves a pale pink stain. When we were talking to Louise Bourget, why should she have told that to us? Because if she knows who the murderer is, there are 2 courses upon her: to tell the truth or to hold her tongue and demand money for her silence from the person concerned. But she does neither. She neither says promptly, "I saw nobody, I was asleep," nor does she say, "Yes, I saw someone and it was so-and-so." So why use this indeterminate rigmarole of words? There can only be one reason. She's hinting to the murderer. Therefore, the murderer must have been there at the time. But besides myself and Colonel Race, only 2 people were present: Simon Doyle and Dr. Besner. Okay, I've already talked about it could be Simon Doyle, but then Dr. Besner had the long surgical thing and got super mad whenever that was pointed out. But Simon's been staying in his room and could have easily taken one and killed her and brought it back. So I do think it might be Simon. Okay. So he says that we're thinking that there's no point when Simon could have done it because he was in the saloon when Lynette left, and then he stayed there until he got shot. But there was a period where I thought Dr. Besner was with him. There was a gap between the 2. Simon Doyle had been alone in the saloon for a period of 5 minutes, and the skilled testimony of Dr. Besner only applied to the time after that period. For that period, we only have the evidence of visual appearance, and though apparently that was perfectly sound, it was no longer certain. What had actually been seen? Mademoiselle Robson had seen Mademoiselle de Belfort fire her pistol, had seen Simon Doyle collapse on a chair, had seen him clasp a handkerchief to his leg, and seen that handkerchief gradually soak through red. Fanthorpe heard a shot, found Doyle with a red-stained handkerchief. What had happened then? Doyle had been very insistent that Jackie should be got away, that she shouldn't be left alone. After that, he suggested Fanthorpe should go get the doctor. That was super risky to run there, run back, shoot yourself. 2 minutes are all he needs. He picks up the pistol from under the sofa, slips out of his shoes, runs like a hare silently along the starboard deck, enters his wife's cabin, creeps up to her as she lies asleep, shoots her through the head, puts the bottle that has contained the red ink on her washstand, because he can't have it on him, runs back, gets hold of the stole, which he's quietly stuffed down the side of a chair, muvels it round the pistol, and fires a bullet into his leg. His chair, into which he falls, in genuine agony this time, is by a window. He lifts the window, throws the pistol wrapped in the telltale handkerchief in the velvet stole into the Nile. Of course, 2 halves of the murder. The 2 halves of the murder. What gave Simon his alibi? The shot fired by Jackie. What gave Jackie her alibi? The insistence of Simon, which resulted in a hospital nurse remaining with her all night. Simon Doyle and Jackie had been lovers, realize that they're still lovers, and it's all clear. Simon does away with his rich wife, inheriting her money, and in due course will marry his old love. Boy, they fooled me. Jacqueline kills Louise with one of Besner's scalpels, but then Madame Otterton has seen Jackie go into Louise's cabin. And when Simon was shouting at her, it was so that Jackie would hear and come and kill her so that she wouldn't get called out. She remembered Pennington had a revolver, she got it, she shot. So then, in the way Poirot is smart, he only goes and tells Simon all of this. Simon folds, and then Jackie's like, it wouldn't have convinced a jury, but you sprang it all on Simon, and he went down like a 9-pin. Oh, Cornelia's gonna get married, but who to? Who to? She's gonna marry Dr. Besner. He asked her last night. Tim and Rosalie are going to get married too. Or anyway, they're together. I'm disappointed that it didn't stick to my original they're in it together thing that I had going at the very beginning. But they really fooled me. I didn't see it coming. So I did have fun. And I hope you did too. I definitely want to do another of these. I think that somebody suggested a Miss Marple. If you have any other suggestions, let me know, because I'm really enjoying doing these. Also, if having some of the things bold enough that you can kind of see them helped, let me know. If you have other suggestions for how to make this more fun or interactive for you, let me know. So until next time, thanks for watching and see you soon.